Remember the campaign from the 80s called Save the Whales? Well, environmentalists, they don't say that anymore because they actually want to pretend that whales are not being killed by green initiatives such as wind farms. But that's not true. Wind farms are killing whales. That is the whole point around a new documentary produced by environmental researcher Michael Schellenberger, shows that the government is pretending that wind projects don't kill whales, but they do. Watch this trailer.
1,000%. That is the boat.
Let's bring it to dead stop. I saw another whale had washed up. It's becoming a pattern. Is it the windmills? Is it the pounding of the seafloor? How many whales is it going to take?
There aren't many places where the North Atlantic right whale can go. It's destined to extinction.
It sounds like they're like it's like pile driving.
This is what the whale is experiencing.
What the United States is looking at is thousands of wind turbines in an area that our whales, our dolphins, our marine life, where they live, where they migrate, where they breed. It's only when they started going into the wind lease areas that we believe that the whales are dying.
So those red dots are whale deaths.
Precisely.
What a scandal.
So that's awful. Probably something you didn't know about up until now. But now, actually, Michael Schellenberger is calling this a victory because these wind projects are stalling. Not necessarily because of the whales, but we'll get to that. Danish offshore wind developer Orsted has scrapped projects to develop wind farms off the coast of New Jersey. They say it's because of higher than expected write-down of its portfolio. This was the Ocean Wind 1 and 2 projects that would have put more than 200. Look at these. Can we leave that up just a little bit? Look how massive that is. 200 of them in the ocean, just 15 miles away from the New Jersey shore. Now, the company, I don't want to say like, oh my God, that in the ocean, because I have seen in person oil and gas rigs in the North Sea off the coast of Norway. So I know that things like that exist in the ocean. But at the same time, these are wind farms that you heard, they produce a lot of noise. They produce a lot of confusion for these whales. Now, the company is saying, well, it's a supply chain issue and high interest rates. That's what tanked the project. The CEO said, well, he's really disappointed because we firmly believe the U.S. needs offshore wind to achieve its carbon emissions reduction ambition. Okay, but do those numbers work out? Does offshore wind really promise that it will replace current gas and have less of a planetary impact, a lower carbon output? Well, let's pretend for a second that we think that it's okay to kill whales and disrupt this environment if it means a reduction in carbon emissions. Just let's think about for a second, does the math work out? Well, according to Michael Schellenberger, it does not. Take a look at this from his book, Apocalypse Never. He says various studies have shown that the cost of integrating unreliable wind energy is high and rises as more wind is added to the system. For example, in Germany, when wind is 20% of electricity, its cost to the grid rises 60%. When wind is 40%, the cost rises 100%. Why would that be? Because of all the power plants, often natural gas, that must be standing by and ready to fire up the moment wind dies down, which that's how wind works. He says the extra power lines that have to be built to remote renewable energy locations and all of the extra equipment and personnel required to support fundamentally unreliable and often unpredictable form of energy. Now, what about land-based wind farms? Those certainly don't kill whales, right? They don't, because whales don't live on land. That might be news to you. I hope it's not. But they require deforestation because onshore, I guess we'll call them, wind farms require 450 times more land than natural gas power plants. That's crazy.
And wasn't there some big to-do about them killing birds?
Oh, I'm going to bring you that about the killing birds. Okay. You are onto something, sir. That's right. There is a lot of evidence of that, and also bat populations. And bats are a really important part of an ecosystem. So if bats can't kill predators, then everything falls apart. It's mayhem. Look at what Schellenberger says about that. Wind energy threatens birds, including golden and bald eagles, burrowing owls, red-tailed hawks, Swainson hawks. I don't know if any of these have racist bird names. We're going to get to them later, so just hold on to that when we talk about racist birds. But you see the list here, right? The expansion of wind turbines has particularly harmed the golden eagle in the western United States, where its population is already at a very low level. Now, look what the wind industry says about it. It's not us. It's actually, they say house cats kill more birds than wind turbines. House cats are a bigger problem. But whereas cats mainly... Go ahead.
They're not combining those numbers. Like if we have the wind farms, then it kills twice as many, or, almost like a third of as many. Like we have to eliminate cats now so that it balances itself out.
Right. Cats are a part of the ecosystem, whereas wind farms are not. Right.
Exactly.
Go ahead, Philip. Were you going to say something about that? Come to the defense
No,
of
I was
cats?
just that's just kind of funny. Yeah, because I'm just thinking about, like how many house cats pull down an eagle. And that's just not really happening.
No, I haven't seen it. I have not seen that happen. Right. And actually, he points out here, cats are killing small, common birds like sparrows, robins, and jays. Wind turbines kill big, threatened, and slow to reproduce species like hawks, eagles, owls, and condors. Plus, a lot of times the cats eat them, or it becomes a part of this ecosystem in a different way. Whereas if they're just like, it's awful. Like he talks about here, rapidly spinning blades act like an apex predator that birds never evolved to deal with. So, they've evolved over hundreds of years, this person says, to fly certain patterns to migrate. You can't throw up a turbine and expect them to adapt. It's not happening. So they're basically like getting sliced in the air. That's awful, right? We know that small birds are victims to mice. We know that is part of the ecosystem, but adding this, like these new blades that are hurting them, is not a part of our ecosystem. So get the heck out of here with your ideas of wind as a good energy alternative, a good renewable. It's not. In September, back to the whales, a whale named Faith was the 71st whale to die this year. She died near an Orsted site in Rhode Island. That's a bad optic. If you're Orsted, I don't think you would like that. Here's what Michael Schellenberger said about it. This is not normal. Death of whales have spiked since 2017, and the only significant change in this period has been the introduction of high decibel sonar and new boat traffic in previously untrafficked areas. This is the biggest environmental scandal in the world. At this rate, the U.S. government and the wind industry are going to make the North Atlantic right whale extinct. The government has corrupted and are covered up the science. Congress must investigate. So you can investigate for yourself by watching the new documentary that I told you about from Michael Schellenberger. It's called Thrown to the Wind. You can find it on Twitter and other places. And I suggest you do, because we live in a world now where environmentalists are the ones saying kill the whales, and the so-called climate change deniers are the ones that want to save the whales.
Thank you so much for watching this segment here at Redacted. We are live every day at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, trying to share the stories that the mainstream media will not cover. You should also come over and join our community of Redacted Rebels over at redacted.inc. That's our private locals community where we can share exclusive content that we simply cannot share here on YouTube. Come over and join the rebellion together right now by going to redacted.inc. We'll see you next time.